If you've ever started 5 hobbies in 1 month, quit 3 of them, and felt guilty about it, stay right here, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why your brain does this. And there's a name for it that most people have never heard. And trust me, the reason will surprise you. It's not what you think. Some people are called jacks of all trades. Others call them scattered, unfocused, unable to commit. But psychologists have a different word for them: multipotentialites. These are people who don't have one passion. They have 10. Coding on Monday, painting on Tuesday, obsessing over astronomy by Friday. Society tells them to pick a lane. But here's the twist. New research says their brains might actually be wired for something most specialists can never do. And I'll show you exactly what that is in a minute. It comes down to something called novelty-seeking behavior, driven by dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. For most people, dopamine spikes when they finish something. But for the multi-interested brain, the spike happens at the start of something new. That first day of learning guitar, pure dopamine flood. Day 30, when it gets hard, the chemical high fades, and the brain goes hunting for the next spark. This isn't laziness. It's a completely different reward wiring. But here's where it gets interesting. This same wiring is linked to something psychologists call cognitive flexibility. And that one trait might be the biggest hidden advantage of the modern age. I'll explain why in a moment, but first you need to understand the dark side of this trait too, because it's not all upside. Many multipotentialites battle a quiet identity crisis. If you're a doctor, you know who you are at a party. If you're a bit of everything, writer, musician, coder, chef, you struggle to answer, so what do you do? Psychologists call this identity diffusion. When your sense of self isn't anchored to one role, it can spiral into imposter syndrome, chronic self-doubt, even shame. Many describe feeling like a fraud in every room because they're never the expert. They're always the beginner somewhere. And this is exactly where most people give up on themselves. But the ones who don't, they discover something almost nobody talks about. Keep watching, it's coming up. Here's the reframe that changes everything. History's most influential minds weren't specialists. They were polymaths. Leonardo da Vinci painted, dissected corpses, designed flying machines, and studied water flow, all at once. His genius wasn't despite his scattered curiosity. It came from it. Modern research on innovation backs this up. Breakthroughs rarely come from people who know one thing deeply. They come from people who connect 2 unrelated fields nobody else thought to combine. A photographer who understands psychology, a programmer who studies music theory. That collision of ideas, that's where original thinking is born. So the too many interests trait isn't a bug. It might be evolution's answer to a world that's changing faster than any single skill can keep up with. But, and this is the part almost nobody warns you about, this trait comes with a trap. It's called the shiny object cycle. You start something at 100% excitement. Then the moment it requires boring, repetitive practice, your brain quietly whispers, maybe this isn't your thing after all. That whisper isn't truth. It's dopamine withdrawal disguised as intuition. And knowing this one fact is the difference between someone who never finishes anything and someone who becomes unstoppable. There's one mental shift that flips this completely. And I saved it for last because it's the whole reason multipotentialites either burn out or thrive. The shift is this: stop asking, what is my one true passion? Start asking, what is the connecting thread underneath all of them? Because underneath the coding, the painting, the music, the cooking, there's usually one repeating pattern: a love of solving puzzles, or a hunger to create, or a need to understand how things work. That thread is your identity. It was never about choosing one interest. It was about noticing what they all have in common. The people who figure this out stop feeling scattered. They start feeling like a system, where every random skill quietly feeds into the next one, building something no specialist could ever replicate. So if you felt broken for jumping between passions your whole life, you're not broken. You might be one of the rarest thinkers in the room. The question now is, what's your connecting thread? Comment your top 3 interests below, and I'll tell you what pattern I see. And if this video finally explained something about yourself you never had words for, you know what to do. Subscribe, because next time, we're breaking down the dark psychology of why some people fear finishing anything at all.